If you enjoy our videos, please subscribe, like, and share so we can continue to provide you with the best in travel tips, news, and information. Join us on our journey of the Beatles Experience as we take you from London to Liverpool and back again. We'll provide you with a step-by-step guide on how to navigate this 220-mile trip. We'll show you a couple of options, how to get there, what tickets to buy, what sights to see, what you're in store for, and some tips along the way. Your first option is by car. Now, it's kind of a long trip and you have a lot to deal with, so I wouldn't recommend taking a car unless you're traveling around England and this is one of your stops. Next up, by train, which is what we're going to be talking about in this video, and by far the easiest way to get from London to Liverpool. They have direct trains running almost every hour, and the train arrives at Lime Street Station in Liverpool, which is within walking distance to almost every site we're going to talk about in this video. So we had plans on being in London anyway, so we figured why not take a day out, head to Liverpool, and get the full Beatles experience. And let me tell you, it was definitely worth it. First, let's take you on a step-by-step guide on how to buy your tickets. I think the best site to buy your tickets would be Avante West Coast, since that's the train you'll be taking if you travel direct. And for all trains, National Rail, I'll leave the links below. We're going to get 2 tickets. We're going to go from London Euston Station to Lime Street Station in Liverpool, and we're going to get a round-trip ticket. We're going to try to catch the earliest train to take full advantage of the day. Okay, maybe not too early. And we're going to buy tickets a little over a week out, and then one set of tickets about 12 weeks out to show you the difference in price. And buying tickets on the weekend is generally cheaper than buying them during the week, and buying tickets in advance is almost always cheaper than buying them last minute. Okay, let's look at our available trains. First, from London to Liverpool. You're going to see there's a few options here, but I think we want to concentrate just on the direct trains for today. But if you want to save a little money, the non-direct trains are usually cheaper and generally, but not always, a longer ride. Here we have a look at the direct trains, and we're going to try to catch the earliest one possible. And the 6:36 train, fortunately, is the cheapest one. And remember, this price is for 2 tickets. You could also see what stops the train will be making along the way. And you also have an option of the type of ticket you want: standard, standard premium, or first class. For a ride that's a little over 2 hours, I think we'll stick with our standard ticket. Now let's go ahead and choose our return train from Liverpool back to London. And here we're going to also look at direct trains. And here are your options. The trains run about every hour. And don't worry if you missed the last direct train. You can catch a late night non-direct train. But for us, I think we're going to grab the 1843, which gets us in at about 21:03, which is a good time to grab a late night dinner in London. Now you can go to checkout or continue. If you hit continue, you get a few more preferences and options for you to choose from. On the right side, you can see and confirm your full itinerary. Then you could check out, fill in your information, and pay for your tickets. So itinerary A was 2 round-trip tickets from London to Liverpool in standard class, about a week and a half out for £140. Now we're going to look at buying the same tickets, but almost about 12 weeks out, and let's see if there's a big price difference. I kind of think there will be. So we're going to select everything exactly like we did in itinerary A, the same times, and let's see how that turns out. One thing that you should be aware of: if you happen to travel to Liverpool while one of their 2 Premier League teams are playing, the trains can get very crowded, so be aware of that. So check their schedule ahead of time. Or you can go to a match. It's a great way to spend your time in Liverpool. Okay, back to the train schedule. As you can see here, the train times are almost exactly the same as they were when we looked a week and a half out. So we're going to pick the same trains we did in the first booking, the direct 6:36 train to Liverpool, and returning on the direct 1843 train back to London. So the total for itinerary B, for 2 standard round-trip tickets, about 12 weeks out, comes out to £94. So you save about £46 from booking a week and a half out, or £23 per person, if my math is correct. Now let's give you a few YTM quick tips about taking the train. First off, we just showed you that you can save money by purchasing your train tickets in advance, if possible. I would say arrive to the station a little extra early, especially if you're not too familiar with this station or haven't been here before. And 3, I'd say pick up some breakfast before you get on the train. It'd be a lot cheaper than buying it on the train, and you'll find a fair amount of places on your way to the station to pick up something to eat. Now let's start our journey from London to Liverpool. Here we see Euston Station. It's fairly easy to get to from most places in London. It's located in Zone 1. We arrived at Euston Station quite early. It's still dark out and we're a little tired, but we have our breakfast and we're pretty excited for the trip ahead. So the first thing we do when we get to the station is check the big board, make sure our train is running on time. Then we go inside, find a seat, and wait for our train. Fortunately, we didn't have to wait too long as our train was on time. Now we just have to sit back, relax, and enjoy our 2-hour and 20-minute ride to Liverpool. Even though we're going to Liverpool today for the Beatles Experience, Liverpool has a lot more to offer. It's a culturally diverse city with a thriving nightlife, a passion for sports, and a storied history. We're going to list some other sights to see in Liverpool at the end of this video. As we arrive at Lime Street Station in Liverpool, our first stop will be Royal Albert Dock and the Beatles Story Exhibition / Museum. There'll be signs leading the way, and in case you get lost, you can use the navigator on your phone or just ask somebody. Most of the people we spoke to in Liverpool were extremely nice and helpful. So you'll end up at Royal Albert Dock, where there's a lot going on, like museums, shopping, restaurants, and plenty of signs leading you to the Beatles story. Now let's take you to their website to give you some general information and walk you through buying your tickets. We already provided you with information on how to get to the Beatles Exhibition, but here they'll give you a few other options to choose from. Now let's take a quick look at the price of admission. You can see that general admission for adults 16 years or older is £20, as well as discounts for seniors, students, and children. And here's what's included with your ticket. Now let's take a look at the opening hours at all the venues involved with the Beatles story. Basically, they have 2 sets of opening hours, from March to September, and from September to March. Now let's guide you on a little walkthrough for buying your tickets. It's kinda cool that they offer you a free audio guide with your ticket purchase. Let's go ahead and buy some tickets. You can see there's a bunch of different options here. Children under 5 are free, and if you happen to fall into that 2-parent, 2-kid demographic, you could save yourself some money with Family Saver. We don't, so we're gonna have to pick up 2 adult tickets. Now let's select our date and time. We picked June 11th, like our train tickets, and we arrive on the train a little after 9, so let's select 9:45. That should give us sufficient time to get to the Beatles story and not feel rushed, and take a nice relaxing walk through Liverpool, enjoy some of the sights along the way to Royal Albert Dock. So as you can see, £40 for 2 adult tickets. Then you can go through the process of filling in your information and paying. As we walk through the museum, we're just going to give you a taste of what this exhibit has to offer. The Beatles story is the largest permanent exhibit devoted just to the Beatles. As you travel to many museums and exhibits, you might not like everything they have to offer, but here, we're pretty much fascinated with almost every exhibit. The time flew by at this exhibit. Before we knew it, we were there over 2 hours. Of the exhibits, some of the ones that resonated the most with me were the handwritten ones, like the handwritten lyrics, notes, sheet music, even the detailed track sheets from the recording studio. Now, that's pretty cool. Of course, while we were here, we had to get a few photos of ourselves as well. And then we moved into a more animated section of the exhibit. Not sure it was meant for adults, but it was fun for us. So of course, I had to get a photo with the Fab Four. Well, now Fab Five. And a day at the Beatles story wouldn't be complete without jamming with the boys. We had a lot of fun here. And even the bathrooms added a little color to this exhibition. Okay, even if you're not a Beatles fan, just a music fan in general, I believe the Beatles story is a must-see when traveling to Liverpool. I don't think you'll be disappointed. After the exhibition, we grabbed some lunch around Albert Dock and headed on to our tour. Now there are many different tours and packages to take in Liverpool. There's walking tours, bus tours, private car tours, cultural tours, and the one we took, the Magical Mystery Tour. You will go to the Cavern Club website to get tickets to this tour. We'll list a link below. And here you can find some general information about the tour. And it's really convenient as the tour starts at Albert Dock, where we just finished visiting the Beatles story and had our lunch. And here you'll see some ticket times and other packages offered. Next up, they will provide you with a nice little map and listings of the places you'll be passing by and stopping during the tour. Now, one of the best things about this tour were the tour guides. Our tour guide had so much great information, wonderful stories, and a great sense of humor. These tour guides definitely made for a great tour. Now we're going to take you through buying your tickets. And there are a few different types of tickets that you can purchase. And just like the museum, you can get a discount for a family ticket, a discount for children, and for groups. But for us, we're just going to buy 2 adult tickets. And you can see our total is £39.90 for 2 adult tickets. So we pick our day and time. We're going to pick 13:30 because that'll give us enough time after the museum to grab some lunch and make our way to the tour. Then after that, just go ahead, fill out your information, and pay. Now, being Beatles fans, this tour was definitely a highlight, and one of the best parts of this tour was stopping by Sir Paul McCartney's family home. Then we made our way to John Lennon's house, if you could see the sign between the trees. We also stopped by the house where George Harrison was born. Throughout our tour of Liverpool, our guide gave us so much useful information as we passed by many Beatles landmarks, either pertaining to their stories or their songs. And yes, we even got to stop at a few sites and take some photos. And our fellow passengers on the bus were very nice and helpful as they took photos of us and we reciprocated. We stopped for a while at some sites so everybody can get the photos they wanted and not feel too rushed. And as we mentioned earlier, if a bus tour isn't your thing, you could always take a private tour. And the last stop on our Beatles experience today in Liverpool is the world-famous Cavern Club. This place is draped in Beatles memorabilia and history, and one of the places where it all began. Here you can see all the information about the club and which acts are performing. You could even put in a specific band or a date you'll be arriving just to see who's performing on those days. As you can see, there are now many different venues associated with the Cavern Club. Now let's look at the times and prices for the club. Of course, with the Magical Mystery Tour, along with some other tours, you get free admission to the club. As we walked into the club, I think we felt a little nostalgic as we saw all the Beatles memorabilia, album covers, photos. So now it was time for the famous 16-ounce salute to the Beatles. Now that we had our beers, it was time to get a few photos in. And of course, we hung around for a while to listen to a few of the bands. They have a wide variety of music being played at the Cavern Club. And of course, you'll usually hear quite a few Beatles songs throughout the day. Hanging at the Cavern Club was a great way to end our Beatles Experience day in Liverpool. Now it was time to head back to Lime Street Station and return to London. It was an easy 10-minute walk for us back from the Cavern Club to Lime Street Station to catch our direct train back to London. And if you missed the last direct train back to London, don't worry, as they have non-direct trains running late night. Our trip today was only a day trip to Liverpool, but if we had more time, we would spend the night. This city has so much more to offer than just the Beatles. We're going to list below some of the more popular sites in Liverpool as we tell you a little story about Paul McCartney. Lily was fortunate enough to meet Paul McCartney while doing yoga at a gym, and she was able to practice yoga with Paul on a few occasions. She said he was extremely nice, clever, and very funny. Now, some people say don't meet your idols, you'll just be disappointed. Well, not in this case. Paul seems to be an all-around good guy. So thanks to Paul and all the Beatles for everything you've given us. I hope this helps you if you decide to travel to Liverpool. Safe travels. Please subscribe, like, and share to keep up with all our latest travel news, tips, and reviews. And we do appreciate it as it does help support the channel.